Morning, Your Honor.
Is it Ms. Fernandez? Are you for the state? Or no, Mr. Poston is here. Never mind. My apologies. Do we have our Spanish interpreter?
Yes, Your Honor.
Okay, thank you, Ms. Fernandez.
You're welcome.
I think this is the first case. All right, good morning, sir. Can I have your full name, please?
Muy buenos días, señor. ¿Me puede dar su nombre, por favor?
You guys are muted.
Counselor, you're muted.
Okay, can you hear us now, Judge?
Yes, thank you, Mr.
Sí.
Fernandez.
Señor, muy buenos días. ¿Me puede decir su nombre?
Marco Antonio
Marco Antonio.
Yocupicio.
Yo Cupicio.
Thank you, Mr. Yocupicio. This is the time set for your initial.
Señor Yocupicio, le dice la juez, usted está aquí esta mañana para su comparecencia inicial.
You have family in the courtroom in your support, your mother and your aunt.
Y aquí en el juzgado está su mamá y su tía para apoyarlo.
I'm seeing you today on some felony charges for drive-by shooting.
El día de hoy usted está compareciendo ante mí porque tiene un delito grave. Es un tiroteo desde un carro en movimiento.
Aggravated assault with a deadly weapon.
Una agresión con agravantes, con un arma de fuego.
Aggravated assault with serious physical injury.
Y agresión con agravantes con lesiones físicas muy graves.
Minor in possession of a firearm.
Posesión de un arma de fuego.
And discharging a firearm in city limits.
Y disparar un arma de fuego dentro de los límites de la ciudad.
And although you are a juvenile, Arizona law requires that certain of these violent charges be filed in felony court.
Y aunque usted es un menor, la ley de Arizona requiere que usted enfrente estos cargos por delitos graves por estos quebrantamientos.
You have the right to remain silent. Anything you say can and will be used against you.
Usted tiene el derecho de permanecer callado. Todo lo que diga puede y será utilizado en su contra.
You have the right to an attorney.
Tiene el derecho de ser representado por un abogado.
I'm going to appoint the Pima County Legal Defender's Office to represent you.
Voy a designar al defensor legal del condado de Pima para que lo represente.
And you have counsel seated next to you for today.
Y el día de hoy, para el propósito del día de hoy, sí tiene un abogado sentado enseguida de usted.
I'll be setting some release conditions for you today.
Y sí voy a fijar condiciones de liberación para usted el día de hoy.
I've reviewed the pretrial services report.
Yo ya revisé el informe previo al juicio
Also reviewed the interim complaint,
y también ya revisé la denuncia provisional
which has the probable cause statement for the arrest.
y también los motivos fundados que conllevaron al arresto.
The state's written recommendation is a $750,000 bond.
La recomendación del fiscal es que a usted se le fije fianza de $750,000.
Mr. Poston, does the state want to be heard further?
Le pregunta a la
Honor,
juez al fiscal que si quiere ser escuchado y dice que sí.
Yes, Your Honor. This individual is alleged to have shot the victim multiple times in the course of a drive-by. Go ahead.
Y su señoría, quiero ser escuchado, dice el fiscal. Esta persona, su señoría, presuntamente le disparó a una víctima varias veces, en varias ocasiones durante el tiroteo.
The victim was taken to the hospital with life-threatening injuries, and he lost a kidney because of this defendant's actions.
Y la víctima fue llevada al hospital y sí sufrió una lesión muy severa, donde él perdió uno de sus riñones debido a las acciones de esta persona.
The defendant admitted post Miranda to being one of the shooters, and he also admitted ownership of the firearms that were recovered.
Y el acusado admitió, después de que se le leyeron sus derechos Miranda, que sí, él había sido una de las personas que disparó y también admitió ser el propietario del arma de fuego que se utilizó en esta actividad.
There is also video evidence of this crime.
Y también hay un video como prueba de este delito.
For this reason, the state recommends $750,000 bond and further recommends and urges the court to find that under the statute, this defendant should be confined in the adult detention center, not in juvenile detention.
Y por esas razones la Fiscalía está solicitando que se le fije una fianza de $750,000 y que también hay un fallo bajo la ley de Arizona que este acusado sea mantenido bajo custodia en el centro de detención de adultos y no en el tribunal de menores.
All right, thank you, Mr.
Each-
Poston.
Gracias, señor Poston.
Mr. Zarzaki?
Judge, so let me start with the easy part of this.
Bueno, dice el abogado, déjeme empezar, su señoría, diciéndole la cuestión más fácil de este asunto.
First off, based on the actual pretrial services write-up, there's absolutely no reason not to erase pretrial services.
Bueno, primeramente, basándome en el informe que presentó la declaración previa del juicio, no hay razón para que el señor pues no quede liberado bajo la supervisión de los servicios previos al juicio.
We have a juvenile with absolutely no criminal history that scores a 2 and a 1 on the assessments, and has confirmed family support.
Y estamos hablando de un menor de edad que no tiene absolutamente ningún antecedente penal y que salió en el 201 en la valoración que se le hizo. Y también tiene apoyo familiar como lo vemos el día de hoy, que están presentes en el juzgado.
As to the state's attempts to essentially try him here today,
Y con respecto a que el fiscal está tratando de juzgarlo el día de hoy aquí,
the state must state several key facts.
la fiscalía debe de nombrar varios asuntos claves.
First off, there's zero evidence that any of the shots that he fired struck the victim.
Para empezar, no hay ni siquiera una sola prueba que demuestre que él fue el que disparó a la víctima.
And in fact, the vast majority of rounds that were fired do not match the caliber of the gun.
Ahora, la mayoría de los balazos que se dispararon no cuadra con el calibre del arma recuperada.
To the extent that he did admit to firing,
Okay. Hasta el alcance o hasta donde él sí admitió haber disparado,
there were he explained that it was done in self-defense and that he was firing warning shots to scare the alleged victim in this case.
mas sin embargo, él sí explicó que fue para defenderse y que él estaba disparando como disparos preventivos, como para intimidar y hacerle saber al presunta víctima.
He did not admit to ownership of the quote-unquote guns used in this case, as the state stated.
Y él no admitió ser el propietario de las, y digo bajo, y cito, las armas como está diciendo el fiscal.
He admitted ownership to a single 9mm.
Él admitió ser propietario de una sola arma, la de 9 milímetros.
That obviously is not the same as the 40 caliber or 5.7 caliber, which isn't a thing that the service used that were mostly used in this case.
Y obviamente pues no coincide con la del calibre 40, que es un calibre 5.7 que el agente utilizó en este caso.
All that being said, understandable, he was involved in an alleged drive-by incident.
Con todo eso ya mencionado, sí participó el señor en un disparo desde un carro en movimiento,
But given that his participation was lesser than at least 2 other people in this incident,
pero su participación fue aún menor que las otras 2 personas presuntas en este incidente.
and given his complete lack of criminal record and ample community support,
Y dado que no tiene antecedentes penales y que tiene un amplio apoyo familiar,
we would ask for a bond that there's some possibility that it could actually be posted as opposed to the mythical number of 750 lawsuit.
Por esas razones solicitamos que se le fije una fianza que sea más lógica y posible que la puedan pagar en vez de los $750,000 como solicita el fiscal.
And obviously, if the court is willing to release me for child services, he will agree to provide any conditions, restrictions, and sure his family will also assist him.
Y obviamente, pues si el juez está considerando liberarlo a los servicios previos al juicio, estoy seguro que el señor va a cumplir con todo lo que se le requiere y se le indique que deba de cumplir, y estoy seguro que la familia también le va a poder ayudar para que él pueda participar en todo lo que se le obligue o se le dicte y para que él pueda cumplir.
Additionally, the state has requested order that he be held in the adult facility.
Además de eso, el fiscal está solicitando que a esta persona se le mantenga detenido en la institución de adultos.
And given his complete lack of criminal record of prior incarceration, vehemently dispute that status to the extent he is held, he can be held in jail.
Y nosotros, pues dado el hecho de que no tiene antecedentes penales, vehementemente nos oponemos y disputamos esa decisión y pedimos que se le mantenga detenido en el Tribunal de Menores.
That's it.
Your
That's
Honor,
all.
Your Honor, may
Go ahead, Mr.
the
Poston.
state respond? One, this individual admitted being part of the group that shot at the victim. That is in the interim complaint. Go ahead.
Bueno, dice el fiscal, ¿me permite responder su señoría? Y la juez le dice que sí. Bueno, primeramente esta persona sí admitió ser parte del grupo que disparó a la víctima, y así como lo mencionan en la denuncia provisional.
Next, I'm not aware, and nor do I see in the interim complaint, that it says what caliber of bullet struck the victim. So this defense cannot say it was not his bullet that struck him, but this is neither here nor there.
That's not the
Because-
standard of proof, Your Honor. The state has to provide evidence that warrants a statement.
May I, Your Honor?
Yes.
Bueno, próximamente dice el fiscal, yo no tengo conocimiento que en la denuncia provisional se haya mencionado el calibre de ese balazo con la cual la víctima fue herida. El abogado defensor está mencionando que pues que no era esa bala, y el abogado defensor dice que sí que no se ha proporcionado esa declaración. Go ahead, Mr. Poston.
Your Honor, notwithstanding defense's report, what I see here is this defendant has admitted being part of the group that fired this fusillade of bullets at the victim. This
Su
is a
señoría,
seven. Go ahead.
Su señoría, dice el fiscal, lo que yo veo es que aquí está una persona que admitió ser parte del grupo que disparó y que sí le dispararon y hirieron a la víctima. Go ahead, Mr. Poston.
This is a 17-year-old with a 9mm pistol. What is he doing with it? He is not allowed by law to possess a 9mm. And furthermore, 9mm spent brass was located at the scene.
Y además de eso, estamos hablando de una persona de 17 años de edad con una pistola de 9 milímetros. ¿Qué hace un muchacho de 17 años con esta pistola de 9 milímetros si por ley él no puede poseer un arma así? Y también esta 9 milímetros spent brass fue ubicada y localizada en el lugar de los hechos.
Your Honor, I see nothing in the initial complaint justifying self-defense. I don't see anything reporting bullets being fired at the defendant. Go ahead.
Y su señoría, yo no veo nada en la denuncia provisional que haya sido en defensa propia y que el señor, el acusado, disparó solamente por defenderse y que le hayan disparado a él. Go ahead.
And then finally, while the defendant may be a minor and he may not have any past, this is most certainly an adult crime. This most certainly is a very serious, dangerous felony. defendant has demonstrated the potential to be a risk to the community safety. And then finally, while his parents and family may have the desire to make sure that he shows up to court and behaves himself, the fact that we're here indicates they don't have the ability to do so. Thank you.
Ok. Y finalmente dice el fiscal, el acusado es un menor, sí es cierto que no tiene antecedentes penales, pero ciertamente el delito que cometió es un delito de adulto y también es un delito grave, absolutamente peligroso y muy grave y muy severo, muy serio. Y el acusado está en riesgo, es un riesgo para la seguridad de la comunidad. Y finalmente, yo entiendo que los padres y los familiares tienen deseos de que él siga con el proceso y se presente en el juzgado y haga todo lo que le ordene el juez. Pero obviamente ellos no tienen la habilidad de hacer eso.
Sure, thank you both, counsel.
Gracias, abogados.
I do agree with Mr. Zarzicki that if you just consider the pretrial services report, it does appear that pretrial release would be appropriate.
Dice la juez, estoy de acuerdo con el abogado Cesiski en la declaración que presentó los servicios previos al juicio, donde la liberación y que quede bajo la supervisión de esta agencia sí sería apropiado.
However, the allegations in the interim and the serious nature of the alleged offenses lead the court to believe a bond is appropriate.
Entonces el juez, sobre la objeción y el alegato del fiscal y de lo que menciona la denuncia provisional y que sí es un delito de naturaleza grave, creo que la fianza, bajo fianza sí sería apropiado.
And in terms of there was some of a probable cause argument that was made by both counsel.
Ahora, con el término de los motivos fundados que alegaron los dos abogados,
The interim indicates that Mr. Yocopicio believed the victim fired at them first.
la denuncia provisional indica que el señor Yocupicio sí le disparó a la víctima el primero.
However, he also admitted post Miranda to law enforcement that the victim's vehicle, that his vehicle made a U-turn and that he started shooting after the victim was 70 yards away from them.
Y más sin embargo admitió también, después de que se le leyeron sus derechos Mirandas, que él hizo una vuelta en U en su vehículo y que él empezó a disparar al vehículo cuando ya estaban a 17 yardas de distancia.
So at this point, the court finds that the actions were not justified and that there is probable cause to proceed.
En este momento el juez dictaminó de que no existen. I'm sorry, Your Honor, could you repeat the last part at this point?
That the
The judge.
actions were not justified and that there is probable cause to proceed.
Que las acciones no están justificadas, pero sí hay motivos fundados para proceder. Thank you, Your Honor.
Thank you. The court will impose a bond of $250,000.
El juez le va a imponer una fianza de $250,000.
It will be cash or secured.
La fianza deberá pagarse en efectivo o en garantía.
If the bond is posted or the defendant is released, he should be released to pretrial services.
Si se deposita la fianza, entonces el señor acusado quedará en libertad, pero bajo la supervisión de los servicios previos al juicio.
And if he does post bond or if he's released, he must reside with family on Wetmore.
Y el señor si paga la fianza y queda liberado, deberá vivir con familiares en Wetmore.
Other conditions of any future release would include absolutely no drugs or alcohol.
Y otra condición, absolutamente no debe de consumir ningún tipo de bebida alcohólica o ningún tipo de droga.
Absolutely no firearms.
Absolutamente no debe de poseer ningún tipo de arma de fuego.
Any monitoring or treatment as directed by pretrial services.
Y debe de seguir con cualquier tratamiento o monitoreo que le indiquen los servicios previos al juicio.
And no contact with the alleged victim.
Y no debe de tener contacto con la presunta víctima.
And considering the factors of Title 8, 305 regarding whether the defendant should be housed at the Pima County Adult Detention Facility.
Ahora, con respecto y considerando los factores que se encuentran en el artículo 8 en la sección 305, con respecto a que si se le debe de mantener en una institución de adultos,
The court is aware that Pima County Adult Detention Facility separates juveniles, so they would be housed separately from any adults who are currently at the Pima County Jail.
y el juez tiene conocimiento que en el edificio de adultos del condado de Pima, de la detención de adultos, sí mantienen aparte a los menores de edad. Entonces, aunque estaría él en una institución de adultos, se mantendría separado de los reos que ya son adultos.
Also considering the nature and circumstances, defendant's age, and what information I do have about physical mental maturity, I do believe that housing at the Pima County Adult Detention Facility would be appropriate at this time.
Y también estoy considerando las circunstancias y la naturaleza del delito y estoy considerando la edad también de la persona y la información que tengo acerca de la madurez física mental. Pienso que sí es apropiado que el señor se le mantenga en el centro de detención de adultos del condado de Pima.
All right, Mr. Yocupicio, your next court date is a preliminary hearing on June 10th.
Señor Yocupicio, su próxima audiencia es una audiencia preliminar fijada para el 10 de junio.
It's scheduled at 1:30 p.m., but that hearing may or may not go forward.
Está programada para la 1:30 de la tarde, pero quizás se lleve a cabo, quizás no.
So please keep in contact with your attorney, the Pima County Legal Defender.
Manténgase en comunicación con su abogado, que es el defensor legal del condado de Pima.
If you fail to appear for court, whether it's that date or future date, a warrant can issue for your arrest.
Y si usted sale libre y no se presenta ese día a su audiencia, se puede emitir una orden de arresto en su contra.
Do you understand those consequences, Mr. Yocupicio?
Señor Yocupicio, ¿entiende las consecuencias de no presentarse?
Sí.
Yes.
All right, thank you, sir. You're excused for today.
Gracias, señor. Se puede retirar por el día de hoy. Gracias.
Thank you. Good luck, guys. Good morning, sir.
Good morning.
Can I get your full name, please?
Anthony Neil Mikesell.
Thank you, Mr. Mike Sell. This is the time set for your initial appearance. I'm seeing you today on a new misdemeanor charge out of Pima County Justice Court. The charge is for disorderly conduct, domestic violence, which is a misdemeanor. You have the right to remain silent. Anything you say can and will be used against you. You have the right to hire your own attorney. In certain instances, if you cannot afford one may be appointed for you. All right, sir, if I release you today, do you have somewhere you can go that is not with Miss Ava Mikesell?
Yeah, I can probably go with my son or with my other daughter.
Okay.
What was your name, ma'am?
My name is Judge Knatzer.
Oh, okay.
And your children live locally?
Yes, uh-huh.
Okay. All right, so I'm going to release you today on your own promise to appear for your next court date. Conditions include do not commit any acts of domestic violence. At this time, no contact with Ms. Ava Mikesell. You can return to the shared residence with law enforcement escort to pick up some personal belongings. So establish an alternate residence, please. That can change in the future if she desires to have further contact with you, if she's okay with you returning home. But right now, no contact at this time other than returning with police escort to pick up your belongings. Your next court
Okay.
date, sir, will be June 16th at 10:30 a.m. at the Pima County Justice Court. When you get released from jail this morning, you'll get a sheet of paper with the date, time, address, and all that information. If you fail to appear for court, whether it's that date or a future date, a warrant can issue for your arrest. You understand all that,
Okay.
Mr. Mikesell?
Yes, ma'am.
Right, thank you, sir. Your excuse for today.
Right.
Good morning, sir. Can I get your full name, please?
Anthony Orozco.
Thank you, Mr. Orozco. This is the time set for your initial appearance. I'm seeing you today for, it's like a new charge of, okay. Sorry, you said Michael Orozco?
Yes.
All right, thank you for your patience. I'm seeing you today on your initial appearance. It's a failure to appear for driving under the influence from Pima County Justice Court. And looks like you also have a failure to appear out of Tucson City Court for disorderly conduct.
I was in a coma in that for that court appearance. I was in a coma for pneumonia.
Okay, hold on, let me say my thing, and then we can talk about that. Okay, and it looks like there might be a drug paraphernalia charge as well. I'm just checking if it's a new one. And there's a new charge for drug paraphernalia. Okay, for Tucson City Court. You have the right to remain silent. Anything you say can and will be used against you. You have the right to hire your own attorney. In certain instances, if you cannot afford one may be appointed for you. So I'll be setting some release conditions for you, sir. All right, looks like the DUI was from 2015. You failed to appear for court in 2017. Warrant was issued in 2025. All right, you're saying you were in a coma, sir. When was that?
The beginning of the year from December 30th, I believe, to January 1st to the 9th. January 1st to January 9th.
Okay. You have housing right now?
Yeah,
Where do you stay?
from my brothers.
At your brother's? Where is that?
3017 West Linfield back.
And do you have transportation?
Not right now. The
Okay.
bus.
You take the bus. Okay. And what was the coma for?
For pneumonia.
For what?
Pneumonia?
Pneumonia? All right.
Yeah.
Please, Judge, we also paper out a superior court hold as well for.
Thank you for that. Okay, looks like, sir, you're being held in from felony charges in Superior Court on a $5,000 bond. So regardless of what I do today, you're still going to be held on that. All right. So, sir, I'm going to impose bonds on the City Court and the Justice Court matters. It's going to be $250 for both. I'm going to appoint you an attorney on the Justice Court case. Will be Amanda Bynum. You'll see a judge tomorrow, June 5th at 1 p.m. You'll be seen by video. The attorney will be there. Ms. Bynum will be there. If you do post that bond, sir, or if you're released, conditions will include do not drive without a valid driver's license. For your Tucson City Court case, I will also impose a bond of $250. It will be cash or secured. Conditions include do not return to the incident location, appoint the Tucson City Public Defender's Office to represent you. Next court date for that one will be June 13th. That's next week at 1:45 p.m. at the Tucson City Court. If you fail to appear for court, as you can see, a warrant can issue for your arrest. Trial can go without you. If you're convicted at a trial in your absence but not able to be sentenced within 90 days due to warrant status, you may lose your right to a direct appeal. You understand the consequences of failing to show to court, Mr. Orozco?
Yes.
Thank you. I'm going to enter not guilty pleas on your behalf. Your excuse for today, sir.
Your Honor, this is the interpreter. Can we check with the jail to see if there's any more Spanish speakers?
Yes. At the jail, are there any more Spanish speakers?
No, we don't have any.
All right, thank you. Thank you, Ms. Fernandez. You're
Hey,
excused.
thank you, Your Honor. Thank you. Have a good day.
You too. All right, good morning, sir. Can I get your full name, please?
Reading Keith Romero.
Thank you, Mr. Romero. This is the time set for your initial appearance. I'm seeing you today on a, let's see, it's like a new, looks like it's a new misdemeanor charge for possession of drug paraphernalia out of Pima County Superior or Pima County Justice Court. You also have a failure to appear for drug paraphernalia out of Tucson City Court. And looks like you have an adult probation hold right now in Superior Court. So you'll see, if you haven't been seen already, you'll be seen by a judge in Superior Court regarding your adult probation hold. I'm just seeing on the misdemeanors today. You have the right to remain silent. Anything you say can and will be used against you. You have the right to hire your own attorney in certain instances. If you cannot afford one, one may be appointed. So on your justice court case, sir, I will release you on your own promise to appear for your next court date, but you're still going to be held on the probation matter until that goes away. Conditions of any release would include no drugs, no alcohol. Next court date is June 16th at 8:30 a.m. at the Pima County Justice Court. On your Tucson City Court case, that one, I will also release you on your own promise to appear for your next court date. I will appoint you an attorney to Tucson City Public Defender. Conditions of any release on that case as well include no drugs, no alcohol. Your next court date for Tucson City will be August 8th at 9 a.m. And they pushed that one out because they want to see what's going on with your felony case. All right. So as you can see, when you fail to appear for court, a warrant can issue for your arrest. You understand all that, sir?
Yeah.
All right. Thank you. You're excused for today. Good morning. Can I get your full name, please?
Anita Sanchez.
Thank you, Ms. Sanchez. This is the time set for your initial appearance. I'm seeing you today on a failure to appear for shoplifting out of Marana City Court. I'm also seeing you on a failure to appear out of Tucson City Court for prescription drugs, drug paraphernalia, and criminal trespass. And one moment, just need to check one more thing. Okay. Hold on one moment, ma'am. That's the wrong one. Yeah. Sorry. They got. All right, my apologies. Okay, I think I got it together. All right, ma'am, I'm seeing you today on a failure to appear shoplifting out of Marana City Court and also a failure to appear for possession of drug paraphernalia out of Tucson City Court. You have the right to remain silent. Anything you say can and will be used against you. You have the right to hire your own attorney. In certain instances, if you cannot afford one may be appointed for you. Ma'am, if I release you today, do you have some stable housing?
Yes.
Where would you go stay?
I could go to my brother's
Where is that?
in New Pascua.
Okay. And do you have a way to get to court?
I can take the bus.
All right, on your Pima County or the Marana City Court case, the shoplifting, I'm going to release you on your own promise to appear for your next court date. Conditions include no contact with the alleged victim of the shoplifting. Don't return to that business. Your next court date will be July 9th at 12 p.m. at the Marana City Court. When you get released from jail today, you'll get a sheet of paper with the date, time, address, and all that. For some reason, if you can't make that court date, you call that number, you let them know. Otherwise, another warrant can issue.
Okay.
All right, on your Tucson City Court case, ma'am, that one I will also release you on your own promise to appear for your next court date. All right, conditions of that include no drugs, no alcohol. Next court date will be July 9th at 9 a.m. I think that's the same date I gave you on the other one as well, so.
You gave her July 9th?
Yeah, July 9th, so.
Is it different times or?
Yeah, they're different times, yes. Yeah. They're different times, ma'am, so you should be able to make both the 9 a.m. and the 12 p.m. one. But for whatever reason, if you can't, then you call them and you let them know that you can't make it, all right?
Okay. All right.
Okay, when you get released from jail today, you'll get 2 sheets of paper with the 2 court dates, so make sure you keep track of those, okay?
Okay, will do.
All right, you're excused for today, thank you.
Thank you.
Yeah, I don't.
Thank you for making the change.
Yeah. Good morning, can I get your full name, please?
Zyla Marie Seller.
Thank you, Ms. Seller. This is a time set for your initial appearance. I'm seeing you today on some new misdemeanor charges out of Pima County Justice Court for disorderly conduct, fighting, and criminal damage, both alleged to be domestic violence. You have the right to remain silent. Anything you say can and will be used against you. You have the right to hire your own attorney. In certain instances, if you cannot afford one may be appointed for you. So, ma'am, I am going to release you today on your own promise to appear for your next court date. Conditions include do not commit any acts of domestic violence, no contact at this time with your roommate, Carolina Arteaga. She looks like she's going to be going somewhere else. So you can go back to your residence. Looks like she's going to be moving out, okay?
Thank you so much.
Your next court date will be June 16th at 10:30 a.m. at the Pima County Justice Court. When you get released from jail today, you'll get a sheet of paper for all the information. If you fail to appear for court, a warrant can issue for your arrest. So it's your best interest to show up to court to get this taken care of. And for some reason, if you can't make that court date, you call the number that's going to be on the paperwork that you're going to get.
Yes, ma'am. Thank you.
You're excused for today. Thank you.
Thank you.
Morning, can I get your full name, please?
It's Jamie Bishop.
Ms. Bishop, this is the time set for your initial appearance. I'm seeing you today on a new misdemeanor charge out of Tucson City Court for assault, domestic violence. You have the right to remain silent. Anything you say can and will be used against you. You have the right to hire your own attorney. In certain instances, if you cannot afford one may be appointed for you. So, man, looks like you're visiting from out of town. Is that right?
Correct.
You live in Ohio?
Yes.
And Mr. Robert Neros, does he also live in Ohio?
Correct.
Do you have a shared residence or do you live separately?
We have a shared residence, but he should be going back, and I'm staying here
Okay. You plan on staying here?
for now. I've been traveling is what I'm doing.
Okay. But your permanent residence is in Ohio?
It is.
All right, ma'am, I'm going to release you on your own promise to appear for your next court date. Conditions include do not commit any acts of domestic violence. At this time, no contact with Mr. Robert Neros. That may change in the future if he wants contact, but at this time, no contact. You may reside in Columbus, Ohio if you choose to return back there. You must establish an alternate residence from Mr. Neros at this time. All right, your next court date will be July 8th at 1:30 p.m. at the Tucson City Court. I don't know if they allow for any telephonic type of or video type of appearances, so you'll have to call them and let them know if you can't arrange it to move your court date so you can make sure you show up on time in person. If you fail to appear for court and you don't call them to reschedule your court date or anything, a warrant can issue for your arrest. Trial can actually go without you. If you're convicted at trial in your absence but not able to be sentenced within 90 days due to warrant status, you may lose your right to a direct appeal. Do you understand the consequences of failing to show to court, ma'am?
Yes.
Okay. And when you get released from jail today, you'll get a sheet of paper with the information, the courthouse information.
Okay. Thank you very much.
Excuse for today. Thank you.
Thank you.
Son vecinos.
Morning, sir. Can I get your full name, please?
Mark Anthony Hoyser.
Mr. Hoyser, this is the time set for your initial appearance. I'm seeing you today on a new misdemeanor charge out of Tucson City Court for disorderly conduct, domestic violence. You have the right to remain silent. Anything you say can and will be used against you. You have the right to hire your own attorney. In certain instances, if you cannot afford one may be appointed for you. So, sir, if I release you today, do you have somewhere you can stay that is not with Carissa Robles?
Yes, ma'am.
Where would you stay?
My grandmother's.
And she's local?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. All right, I'm going to release you today on your own promise to appear for your next court date. Conditions include do not commit any acts of domestic violence. At this time, no contact with Ms. Carissa Robles. Do you have any property at wherever she's staying?
No, ma'am.
All right, and you must establish an alternate residence from her. Your next court date is July 8th at 1:30 p.m. at the Tucson City Court downtown. When you get released from jail today, you'll get a sheet of paper with the courthouse information, the date, time, all that. If you fail to appear for court, sir, a warrant can issue for your arrest. Trial can go without you. If you're convicted at a trial in your absence but not able to be sentenced within 90 days due to warrant status, you may lose your right to a direct appeal. So it's in your best interest to show up to court to get this taken care of. You understand all that, Mr. Hoyser?
Thank you, Your Honor.
I'm going to enter not guilty pleas on your behalf. You're excused for today. Thank you.
Thank you.
Morning, ma'am.
Morning.
Can I get your full name, please?
Chalice Robin Danielle Bowling.
One more time.
Chalice Robin Danielle Bowling.
Can you spell the last name for me?
Bowling.
Chalice Robin Danielle Bowling.
Yep.
Thank you. And Chalice is with a C?
It's with an S. My mom spelled it different.
S-A-L-I-C-E?
No, SHALLIS.
S-H-A-L-L-I-S. Chalice. Okay. Chalice Robin Danielle Bowling.
Yep.
All right, thank you. And your birth date, ma'am?
7/20/1987.
7/20/1997?
7/20/1987.
87. Thank you. All right. Good morning, Ms. Bowling. This is the time set for your initial appearance. I'm seeing you today on a new misdemeanor charge out of Tucson City Court for criminal trespass in the 3rd degree. You have the right to remain silent. Anything you say can and will be used against you. You have the right to hire your own attorney. In certain instances, if you cannot afford one may be appointed for you. So, ma'am, if I release you today, do you have some stable housing?
Yeah.
All right. Where would you go stay?
Anywhere. I've used to have an apartment. I'd stay at the Gospel, but the last place that I stayed that I remember was the Gospel. I was out job hunting before I got arrested, and I didn't tell nobody, to be honest.
Okay. Gospel, you mean Gospel Rescue Mission?
Yeah.
Okay. Do you think you can go back there?
Yeah, I'd say, yeah.
And
or anywhere, I'd say.
And if not, ma'am, outside the jail, there is something called a Pima County Transition Center. They do help with temporary housing, so you may want to stop by there once I release you today.
Okay.
All right. I'm going to release you on your own promise to appear for your next court date. Conditions include do not return to the incident location. Looks like
And
it,
that was at the Quick Mart, right, ma'am? I'm sorry, I didn't mean to interrupt you.
looks like it's 885 East 22nd Street, a 7-Eleven.
Okay, that's Quick Mart, right? Oh, 7-Eleven.
A 7-Eleven.
Okay.
Okay, your next court date at the Tucson City Court will be July 9th at 2:30 p.m. When you get released from jail today, ma'am, you'll get a sheet of paper with all the information. If you fail to appear for court, whether it's that July 9th date or a future date, a warrant can issue for your arrest. Trial can go without you. If you're convicted at a trial in your absence but unable to be sentenced within 90 days due to warrant status, you may lose your right to a direct appeal. Do you understand the consequences of failing to show to court, ma'am?
Yes, ma'am.
When I enter not guilty, please on your behalf. You're excused for today, Ms. Bowling. Thank you. All right, good morning, sir. Can I get your full name, please?
George Ochoa.
Thank you, Mr. Ochoa. This is the time set for your initial appearance. I'm seeing you today on a new misdemeanor charge out of Tucson City Court for criminal trespass in the 3rd degree. You have the right to remain silent. Anything you say can and will be used against you. You have the right to hire your own attorney. In certain instances, if you cannot afford one may be appointed for you. Sir, if I release you today, do you have some stable housing?
Yeah.
Where would you go, sir?
At my sister's.
Is that on Blackwood?
Yeah.
Yeah. All right, so I'm going to release you on your own promise to appear for your next court date. Conditions include do not return to the incident location, which appears to be the Ronstadt Transition Center or the Transit Center on 215 East Congress. Your next court date, sir, is going to be July 9th at 2:30 p.m. at the Tucson City Court downtown. When you get released from jail today, you'll get a sheet of paper with all the information for the next court date. If you fail to appear for court, whether it's that July 9th date or a future date, a warrant can issue for your arrest. Trial can go without you. If you're convicted at a trial in your absence but not able to be sentenced within 90 days due to warrant status, you may lose your right to a direct appeal. Do you understand the consequences of failing to show to court, sir?
Yes.
All right, thank you, Mr. Ochoa. I'm going to enter not guilty pleas on your behalf. You're excused for today.
Done with the mail, sir.
Garcia. Garcia.
All right, good morning, sir. Can I get your full name, please?
Alfonso Raul Garcia.
Thank you, Mr. Garcia. This is the time set for your initial appearance. I'm seeing you today for a new felony charge of possession of dangerous drugs. Also seeing you on a post-adjudicated warrant out of Douglas Justice Court. And also seeing you on a failure to appear out of Tucson City Court for domestic violence. We're going to talk about those all separately. We'll start with the felony case. You have the right to remain silent. Anything you say can and will be used against you. You have the right to hire your own attorney. I'm going to appoint the Pima County Public Defender's Office to represent you. And you have counsel seated next to you for purpose of today. I'll be setting some release conditions for you, sir. I reviewed the pretrial services report, the interim complaint. The state's written recommendation is released to pretrial screening first steps. Mr. Poston, is that correct?
It is, Your Honor.
Thank you. Mr. Zarzicki?
We're obviously fine with that. Your Honor.
And waive time for the preliminary hearing date.
Well, let me verify with him. We're okay with that. Your Honor.
Okay. And I might revisit that as well, because I'm not quite sure what I'm going to do about the out-of-county warrant at this time. Okay, so the state is saying you may be eligible to participate in a drug treatment diversion program called STEPS. Would you be interested?
Yeah.
Okay, so it's called STEPS. I'll set you a STEPS hearing next week, June 11th at 9 a.m. You'll find out next week if you qualify for the program. If you qualify, you complete it successfully, then they will dismiss the felony charges. All right, on this case, I will release you to pretrial services. Conditions of release to pretrial would include no drugs, no alcohol, no weapons, monitoring treatment as directed by pretrial, waiving time for the preliminary hearing date, which will be July 21st at 1:30 p.m. And so if you fail to appear for court, whether it's that step date or the next hearing date, the preliminary hearing, a warrant can issue for your arrest. Okay. For the Douglas Justice Court case, it looks like it's post adjudication for an assault. Did you know you had a warrant out of Douglas Justice Court?
I did not.
Do you have transportation? Could you make it over there?
By when?
Do you have transportation to make it over to Douglas?
Yes.
All right, so you would have to show up to Douglas Justice Court to quash that warrant, okay? The next court date for
Okay.
Douglas Justice Court, I'm gonna release you on that one, so I'm not gonna hold you on that bond or anything. It's June 10th at 9:30 a.m., so that's next week. Next
Okay.
Tuesday. And for some reason, if you can't make that, for whatever reason, you don't have transportation, you call them and you let them know. Otherwise, that warrant's still gonna be out there. Conditions of that release include no contact with the alleged victim of the assault. Okay. And then finally, your Tucson City Court case, sir. That one as well, I will release you on your own promise to appear for your next court date. Conditions include do not commit any acts of domestic violence, no contact with the alleged victim, Hannah Sleva, do not return to the victim's residence or anything. For that one, next court date is going to be July 21st at 9 a.m. at the Tucson City Court. All right, sir, so when you get released from jail today, you have 3 different sheets of paper. They're gonna give you 3 separate court dates to keep track of. As you can see, when you fail to appear for court, warrants can issue for your arrest. So it's in your best interest to keep track of those court dates, make sure you make it to court, otherwise to call the courts to let them know to reschedule your court dates. You understand all that, sir?
Yes.
Right.
Thank you.
Thank you. You're excused for today. Good afternoon, or good morning, sir. Can I get your full name, please?
Nicholas Lee Yock.
Yock, this is the time set for your initial appearance. I'm seeing today on a new felony charge for aggravated assault with a simulated weapon, tampering with physical evidence, possession of drug paraphernalia, and possession of dangerous drugs, which are all felonies. You have the right to remain silent. Anything you say can and will be used against you. You have the right to hire your own attorney, appointing the Pima County Public Defender's Office to represent you, and you have counsel seated next to you for purposes be used against you. You have the right to hire your own attorney, appointing the Pima County Public Defender's Office to represent you, and you have counsel seated next to you for purposes of today. I'll be setting some release conditions for you today, Mr. Yap. I reviewed the pretrial services report, the interim complaint. The state's written recommendation is a $5,000 bond. Mr. Poston, would the state like to be heard further?
No, Your Honor.
Thank you. Mr. Zarzaki?
Judge, I will note in Nicholas's case that this is by PTS and kind of common definition a violent offense, though in this case it was a pellet gun that was never actually used. It was shown fire like that. He fled essentially when immediately confronted. I think that goes to show that there is not as much of a risk for criminal activity as indicated by the offense. The NBCA and the violence assessment by pretrial services, obviously, like I said, I understand where that's coming from. Ultimately, though, he is only a 2 on their assessment scale. He has some felony history. Most of it's non-violent. The most recent was a failure to register from 2019. So it's not a spectacular history, but there isn't a lot of violent conduct out there. I don't necessarily know that he's a large threat to society, to the community. So we would ask for the court to consider release of pretrial services. If not, we'd ask, given his homeless status, given the fact that basically he is akin to more than $2,500 bond.
All right.
Your Honor,
Yes, go ahead, Mr. Poston.
only thing the state has in response is there's no reason to suspect that the security guard that the defendant allegedly pulled this pistol on knew that it was a pellet gun. I'm sure the terror he felt was entirely bona fide.
All right, thank you. I'll impose a bond of $3,000 in this case. It'll be cash or secured, released to pretrial if posted. So if you do post the bond or if you're released, conditions include absolutely no drugs or alcohol, no weapons, monitoring treatment as directed, no contact with the alleged victim, the security guard, do not return to the incident location, which is 4100 South Palo Verde. So your next court date will be a preliminary hearing on June 16th at 1:30 p.m. That date may or may not go forward, so please keep in contact with your attorney. If you fail to appear for court, whether it's that date or a future date, a warrant can issue for your arrest. You understand all that, Mr. Yap? You understand all that, sir, if you don't show for court?
So this is am I giving a bond or am I RORing?
You're getting a bond. It's $3,000.
Your Honor, I have a job. I was supposed to start today. I'm not a violent. I'm not a violent person, Your Honor. I just wanted to try and find my dog.
Okay, well, my decision is made, sir. You can talk to your attorney in the future about any modification of a bond based on employment status. All right, you're excused for today. Thank you. Morning, sir. Can I get your full name, please?
Brian Ray Cowan.
Thank you, Mr. Cowan. This is the time set for your initial appearance. I'm seeing you today on some new felonies for possession of dangerous drugs and possession of narcotic drugs. You have the right to remain silent. Anything you say can and will be used against you. You have the right to an attorney. I'm appointing the Pima County Public Defender's Office to represent you. And you have counsel seated next to you for purposes of today. I'll be setting some release conditions for you, sir. I've reviewed the pretrial services report, the interim complaint. The state's written recommendation is released to pretrial, screen for steps. Mr. Poston, is that all correct?
Yes.
Thank you. Mr. Zarzaki?
We're okay with that, Judge, and I'll ask him on waiving return. So, to that, working on transition report. But in order to do that, the court has to wait to the like less than 4 8 concern. Sorry. We're okay. We're okay with that judge, and he's okay waiting.
Thank you. So, Mr. Cohen, the state is saying that you may be eligible to participate in that drug diversion program. Would you be interested?
Yes, ma'am.
So that program is called STEPS. They do a screening to see if you qualify. So I'm going to set you a STEPS hearing next Wednesday, June 11th at 9 a.m. You show up to the Superior Courthouse downtown on the 3rd floor, and you'll find out if you qualify. If you don't show up, they're not going to consider you. So it's very important that you show up next week. Right. I will.
Oh, hold on. What? It has to be at the same time during the day, but change the day. Judge, is there any way he works until 2:30 in the afternoon? Is there any way that it can be set for when he gets off of work?
I don't think we can set it on an afternoon. Okay.
He's good, Your Honor.
Thank you. So, sir, I will release you to pretrial services. And again, if there's something wrong with that date, your job won't let you let off of work, call the public defender's office, call your attorney, and let them know, and perhaps they can do something about arranging a different time for you. But I can't set a new hearing date right now. It has to be in the morning session. That's when the judges hear the STEPS cases.
Yes, ma'am.
Sir, conditions of your release to pretrial include no drugs, no alcohol, no weapons, monitoring and treatment as directed by pretrial. The preliminary hearing date will be pushed back to July 21st at 1:30 p.m. So if you qualify for this, sir, and you participate, you complete it successfully, they dismiss the felony charges. Okay?
Yes, ma'am.
If you fail to appear for court, a warrant can issue for your arrest. You understand all that, Mr. Cohen?
Yes, ma'am.
You're excused for today. Thank you.
Thank you.
Morning, sir. Can I get your full name, please?
Yes, Your Honor. It is Jason Depew.
Middle name Colton?
Yes, ma'am.
Thank you, Mr. Depew. This is the time set for your initial appearance. I'm seeing today on some new felony charges of possession of dangerous drugs and possession of drug paraphernalia. You have the right to remain silent. Anything you say can and will be used against you. You have the right to hire your own attorney and appoint the Pima County Office of Legal Advocate to represent you. And you have counsel seated next to you for purpose of today. I'll be setting release conditions for you, sir. I've reviewed the pretrial services report. The interim complaint, state's written recommendation is released to pretrial screen for STEPS. Is that correct, Mr. Poston?
Yes.
Thank you. Mr. Zarzicki?
1 second, Your Honors. Yeah, we're obviously okay with steps, Your Honor, and he has no objection to waiting.
Thank you. So, Mr. Depew, the state is saying you may be eligible to participate in a drug diversion program. Would you be interested?
Yes, Your Honor, I would be.
Okay. That program is called STEPS. It's an acronym, STEPS. So I'm going to set a STEPS hearing for you June 11th. That's next Wednesday at 9 a.m. at the Superior Courthouse downtown on the 3rd floor. So they do a screening to see if you qualify. You show up that day, you find out if you qualify. If you participate and you qualify, you successfully complete the program, they dismiss the felony charges. If you don't show up, then they're not going to consider you. So it's very important you show up next week. All right, I'm going to release you, Mr. Depew, to pretrial services. Conditions of your release include you'd have to keep in contact with them as often as they want you to. No drugs, no alcohol, no weapons, any monitoring treatment as pretrial directs you to. Your next court date after the STEPS hearing next week will be July 21st for preliminary hearing at 1:30 p.m. If you fail to appear for court, whether it's either those 2 dates or a future date, a warrant can issue for your arrest. You understand all that, Mr. Depew?
Yes, Your Honor.
Thank you, sir. You're excused for today.
Thank you.
Morning, can I get your full name, please?
Figueroa?
Middle name is Marie?
Yes.
Thank you, Ms. Figueroa. This is the time set for your initial appearance. I'm seeing you today on some new felony charges for felony shoplifting, possession of narcotic drugs, organized retail theft, using an artifice to commit a fraudulent sale, possession of whole paraphernalia, additional counts of aggravated shoplifting. I'm also seeing you on a post-adjudicated warrant out of Sahuarita Municipal Court for domestic violence, disorderly conduct. We'll talk about the felonies first, and then we'll talk about the Sahuarita case. All right, you have the right to remain silent. Anything you say can and will be used against you. You have the right to hire an attorney. I'm going to appoint the Pima County Legal Defender's Office to represent you. I'll be setting some release conditions for you, ma'am. I've reviewed the pretrial services report, the interim complaint. The state's written recommendation is a $5,000 bond on one case and a $1,000 on the other. Mr. Poston, does the state want to be heard further?
Your Honor, on the case ending with a report of 076, is there a probation hold on this individual?
Oh, no. No, we don't have one down for her.
All right, the state submits on the written record.
Thank you. Mr. Zarzicki?
Judge, I will note, she, obviously this is a fully nonviolent offense. She was stopped for shoplifting for essentially skip scanning items on a self-checkout. I think at least on one of the charges, on the second charge, there is, based off of the I got you. So I guess so excuse me, it'd be based off the first one. I think there's some indication in the interim complaint. There were attempts to be made to scan it and pay for it. Obviously, the tenor of the interim complaint is that was fraudulent, but I think there's a good argument that there might not have been intent on that one. She has confirmed housing in Sahuarita. She has a partner that's willing to provide support. She has her only prior felony conviction is a nonviolent for prison contraband, which, given how these prison contraband cases get charged, there's also a possibility her knowledge on that one was not spectacular either. Based off all that, I don't think this is a huge risk for her to be any sort of violent or even continuing threat to the community. It's a couple of isolated shoplifts or alleged shoplifts from a store. We would ask the court to consider releasing her to child services. Failing that, we'd ask for I won't say nominal bond, but something, given that she's unemployed and is going to have to provide transportation from Sorry and whatnot, something less than $5,000 or $500.
Thank you. On the 07323 matter, which is the one that was from yesterday, the June 3rd offense date, I'll impose a $2,500 bond on that one. It will be cash or secured, released to pretrial if posted. On the other matter, which is 007338, that's the offense from April 2025, I'll impose a $500 bond. The bonds will be concurrent. Conditions, if you do post the bond, ma'am, cash is released to pretrial, no drugs, no alcohol if you're released or if you post the bond, no weapons, any monitoring and treatment is directed by pretrial, no contact with the business victim, which is the Walmart on 18680 South Nogales Highway. Your next court date for both will be June 16th at 1:30 p.m. for a preliminary hearing. That date may or may not go forward, so please keep in contact with your attorney, the legal defender's office. If you fail to appear for court, a warrant can issue for your arrest. Now let me talk about your Sahuarita case. All right, so for that one, it is a post-adjudicated warrant. The warrant amount on that case from a Sahuarita judge was $1,500. I will honor that amount. It'll be $1,500, cash or secured. I'll appoint you an attorney, Mr. Stan Keith Fitzgerald. If you do post that bond or if you're released on the Sahuarita case, conditions include no drugs, conditions include do not commit any acts of domestic violence, no contact with the alleged victim. Next court date for that will be June 10th. That's next week at 3 p.m. If you're still in custody, you'll be seen by video and the attorney will be there. As you can see, ma'am, when you fail to appear for court, a warrant can issue for your arrest. Do you understand all that?
Yes.
Thank you. You're excused for today.
In charge. Your Honor, how about the new shoplifting charge on somebody? To see the fees.
Good.
Sorry?
Did you hear?
No.
There's a pending new shoplift charge on Saturday.
Okay, I'm sorry. That should still be covered under the release conditions.
Thank you.
Thank you. All right. Good morning, sir. Can I have your full name, please?
Good morning, Your Honor. Edward Leo here.
Thank you, Mr. Hare. This is a time set for initial appearance. I'm seeing you today on some new felony charges, a domestic violence stalking, a domestic violence harassment, which are felonies. And you have, I think it's your sister that's here in your supporting court right now. All right, you have the right to remain silent. Anything you say can and will be used against you. You have the right to hire your own attorney. I'm appointing the Pima County Public Defender's Office to represent you. You have counsel seated next to you for purpose of today. I did want to let both counsel know I saw Mr. Hare on Monday on a separate matter in Superior Court, not a criminal case. He was requesting an order of protection and an injunction, and I had some hearings, ex parte hearings with him on that front. Do either counsel have an objection to me proceeding with initial appearances today?
None at all, Your Honor.
No. No objection, Your Honor.
All right, thank you. All right, sir. I forget where I was. If I haven't said so already, you have the right to remain silent. Anything you say can and will be used against you. You have the right to an attorney, appointing the Pima County Public Defender's Office to represent you, and you have counsel seated next to you for purpose of today. I'll be setting some release conditions for you, Mr. Hare. I've reviewed the pretrial services report, the interim complaint. The state's written recommendation is a $25,000 bond. Mr. Poston, do you want to be heard further?
Yes, Your Honor. Looking at the facts alleged in this matter, it speaks to a very concerning fact pattern. We're looking at 3 separate locations when apparently he tried to reach in with for kids at a daycare. The defendant violated an OP allegedly on 5/28. On 6/3, there apparently seemed to have been another visit to the daycare involving a firearm. There's an OP in place against him, and he has a prior DV conviction with the same individual. The state is concerned that this person presents a danger to the victim, and therefore, given the fact that we're looking at stalking and harassment with DV enhancements, $25,000 is appropriate, Your Honor.
All right, thank you. Mr. Zarzicki?
Judge, so what Mr. Hare's indicated to me is as far as he knows, he has paperwork showing that the order of protection was dismissed. This is, I hate to trivialize this because obviously the allegations in this case are very serious. But it's also very obvious that this all spurs out of a custody issue, a child care custody issue. Mr. Harris indicated to me, and also did indicate to police when they sent people at the daycare when this happened, that he has legitimate concerns that the alleged victim in this case is properly caring for the kids, that she's essentially being a good parent. That was the impetus for his repeated trips to the daycare, because it's the only way he really has to check up on his children right now. So from that perspective, given that he was under the belief that the order of protection was dismissed and there were some legitimate issues here, I don't know that there's really a pattern that we need to be concerned about. Now, as to the one incident, which I'm sure is what triggers the violent flag and the PTS assessment, where he was alleged to have pointed an object like a gun and threatened the victim in this case. We dispute all of that. That goes without saying. But even if we take it at its word, he was never found with a gun. The victim was never in any direct threat. Again, there's obviously recurring issues between the two. They've both been seeking protective orders. Past that, he's a 1 on the assessment. He has a confirmed residence with his mother. He's been in Tucson for 17 years. He is unemployed, but a lot of, as he's been dealing with a lot of the issues with the separation and with his kids. So with all that in mind, I would very seriously ask the court to consider releasing him to pretrial services, whatever restriction the court feels necessary to ensure that the alleged victim in this case is protected and to ensure that he goes through proper channels as far as the kids are concerned. He will willingly abide by. He really does just care about what's best for the children in this case. Should the court insist on imposing a bond on him, we would financial situation for something far less than 25,000. We would ask for something more in the range of 5,000.
All right, thank you, counsel. I will note that the charges are not an allegation of a violation of order protection, so it's unclear if there currently is an active order protection. I know the pretrial services report indicated there was one, but that was not the alleged charge, and there's no note of that in the interim. Also, there's no indication that Mr. Hare was not allowed to be at the daycare to visit his children. All right, but at this juncture, I do think there's probable cause to move forward. Mr. Hare, I am going to release you to pretrial services. You'll get out of jail today. Conditions include you have to contact them as frequently as they tell you to. No drugs, no alcohol, no weapons. Monitoring treatment as directed by pretrial. Do not commit any acts of domestic violence. At this time, no contact with Ms. Desa Shippen unless it's regarding the custody or care of the shared minor children. I don't know if there are any active order protections right now, but if they exist, any terms of any active order protections, and of course, any terms of any active family court orders regarding contact regarding the shared minor children. All right, so your next court date will be June 24th at 1:30 p.m. for a preliminary hearing. That date may or may not go forward, so please keep in contact with your attorney, the public defender. If you fail to appear for court, whether it's that June 24th date or a future date, a warrant can issue for your arrest. You understand all that, Mr. Hare?
Thank you, Your Honor. Yes, I do. Thank you.
You're excused for today.
Thank you, Your Honor. Oh, if you. Thank you. Thank you.
Yes. Good morning, sir. Can I get your full name, please?
Yes, Michael Damien Herrera.
Thank you, Mr. Herrera. This is a time set for your initial appearance. I'm seeing you today on some new felony charges for aggravated shoplifting, which is a felony, 2 counts. You have the right to remain silent. Anything you say can and will be used against you. You have the right to hire your own attorney. I'm appointing the Pima County Public Defender's Office to represent you. And you have counsel seated next to you for purpose of today. I'll be setting some release conditions for you, Mr. Herrera. I reviewed the pretrial services report, the interim complaint. The state's written recommendation is a $5,000 or $10,000 bond, excuse me. Mr. Poston, do you want to be heard further?
No, Your Honor.
Thank you. Mr. Zarzicki?
Can I have 1 second to speak with him, Your Honor? Your Honor, I will note in this case, I mean, it's a shoplift. It's a nonviolent felony. He does have multiple priors. We can't fix that. The one thing I will note is he did indicate to pretrial services and reaffirmed with me that he does have part-time employment. He is a part-time student. He does have stable residence. I know there was some indication that the family was not aware of that. He affirmed to me that's all true, and he has verification, all that. He can get verification of that for the court. Obviously, we don't have it today. But based off that, I'm comfortable not avowing to the court, but it does sound pretty confident that he has those things. Given his prior history, it's not surprising that he got the scores in the NVCA flag. Like I said, there's not anything to do about that history. Given that there's a non-violent offense in this case, and given that he has some part-time employment in a stable residence, we would ask the court to consider release to jail services. If the court is not inclined based on his history, we would ask for something less than a $10,000 bond. At the end of the day, this is just a shoplifting case. I'm not minimizing the societal impacts and blah, blah, blah that shoplifting can have, but it's a non-violent crime, and there's not any indication that it poses any further threat to the store and its employees. So we'd ask for something like a $500 bond.
All right, thank you. Mr. Zarzicki, can you confirm whose residence that is that's listed, West Calle Escorial?
Whose residence is that? Same. Salso Villegas.
Salso Villegas, he says.
Your Honor? Your Honor?
Hold on, Mr. Poston. What was that, Mr. Zarzicki? Whose residence was that?
Salso Villegas, his grandfather.
Okay, the pretrial services report indicates. Okay, the grandfather provided some statement about the housing situation. That he was not living with them, but okay. All right, thank you, Mr. Poston.
Second thoughts, state submits. Thank you.
Okay.
On second thought, state submits. Thank you.
Okay, thank you, Mr. Poston. All right, I will impose a bond in this matter. I'm concerned about the housing situation and the conflicting information provided by the grandfather and the housing that Mr. Herrera has indicated he has. So impose a bond of $2,500. It will be cash or secured, released to pretrial if posted. Conditions of any release would include no drugs, no alcohol, no weapons, any monitoring treatment as directed by pretrial, no contact with target, which is the alleged victim in this case, on Ina Road. Next court date, there will be a preliminary hearing on June 16th at 1:30 p.m. That date may or may not go forward, so please keep in contact with your attorney, Mr. Herrera. If you fail to appear for court, whether it's that date or a future date, a warrant can issue for your arrest. You understand all that, sir? Excuse for today. All right, good morning, sir. Can I get your full name, please?
Orlando John.
Middle name is Julius?
Yes, ma'am.
Thank you. So this is the time set for your initial appearance. I'm seeing you today for a warrant out of Maricopa County Superior Court for he pled to possession of drug paraphernalia, and there was a failure to appear at sentencing on May 9th of 25 and a warrant issued. So I'm seeing you on that. All right, you have the right to remain silent. Anything you say can and will be used against you. You have the right to an attorney. So the bond amount in this case is $1,000. I will honor that Superior Court judge's bond amount request from Maricopa County. It will be cash. I'm going to set you a review hearing on July 7th at 9 a.m. But most likely Maricopa County Sheriff's Department, they'll be picking you up in this case the next week or so. So you'll be seen by a judge in Maricopa. Okay? All right, you're excused for today. Thank you. Morning, can I get your full name, please?
Michelle Lynn LaMonica.
Thank you, Ms. LaMonica. This is the time set for your initial appearance. I'm seeing you today on new felony charge for felony shoplifting, also failure to appear at a Tucson City Court for theft, and a failure to appear at a Pima County Justice Court for shoplifting. You have the right to remain silent. Anything you say can and will be used against you. You have the right to hire your own attorney. I'm going to appoint the Pima County Public Defender's Office to represent you on your felony case. I'll appoint Amanda Bynum to represent you on your Justice Court case. And I will appoint the Tucson City Public Defender's Office to represent you on your Tucson City Court case. I'll be setting release conditions for you on all three of your matters. I'll review the pretrial services report, the interim complaint. The state's written recommendation is a $5,000 bond. Mr. Poston, would you like to be heard further?
No, Judge.
Thank you. Mr. Zarzicki?
Judge, on this case, this is a pretty textbook nonviolent shoplifting case. She has no felony history whatsoever. She's been in Tucson for 5 years. She does not have confirmed housing, but I mean, that's hardly her fault. Given the lack of felony history, given the lack of violence in this offense, we would ask for the court to consider release to pretrial services. Failing that, given her unemployed and unhoused status, we'd ask for something more like $1,000 to $2,500 bond. Basically, any bond is likely to be unenforceable for her, but at least give her some chance to bond.
All right, thank you. I'll impose a nominal bond because I will be holding Ms. LaMonica on the misdemeanor failures to appear. So, ma'am, on the felony case, I'll impose a bond of $500. It will be cash or secured, released to pretrial if posted. Conditions include no drugs, no alcohol, no weapons. Any monitoring treatment is directed by pretrial. No contact with the alleged business victim. Do not return to the incident location. Next court date is June 16th at 1:30 p.m. for a preliminary hearing. That date may or may not go forward, so please keep in contact with your attorney, the public defender. On your Pima County Justice Court case, I'm going to impose a bond of $250. It'll be cash or secured. Next court date's tomorrow, June 5th at 1 p.m. and your attorney, Ms. Bynum, will be there. And then on your city court case, it'll also be $250, cash or secured. Conditions include no drugs, no alcohol. Do not return to the incident location, the business victim. All right, next court date for Tucson City is next week, June 13th at 1:45 p.m. As you can see, ma'am, when you fail to appear for court, warrants can issue for your arrest. If you still remain in custody at your court dates, you'll be seen by video. The attorneys will be there. You understand all that, ma'am?
Yes.
All right, thank you, Ms. LaMonica. Your excuse for today.
I don't leave today. I have to stay here.
Yeah, yeah, bonds, $3,000 for. What's with the finish?
Good morning, sir. Can I get your full name, please?
Rachel Bax Medina.
Thank you, Mr. Medina. This is the time set for initial appearance. I'm seeing you today on new felony charge for possession of narcotic drugs, possession of drug paraphernalia, possession of a weapon during a felony drug offense, and also seeing you on a failure to appear out of Tucson City Court for disorderly conduct.
Yeah. Sorry. What we talking here?
I have to tell Friday, I would have that stuff it's later.
Okay. Sorry, Your Honor. He has some additional information on that, but I was going to let the court finish up.
And I do see the information about court on Friday in Tucson City Court. We'll address that. Okay. All right, Mr. Medina, you have the right to remain silent. Anything you say can and will be used against you. You have the right to hire your own attorney. On your felony case, I'll appoint the Pima County Public Defender's Office to represent you. You have counsel seated next to you for purpose of today. I'll be setting some release conditions for you, sir. I've reviewed the pretrial services report, the interim complaint. State's written recommendation is a $7,500 bond. Mr. Poston, would the state like to be heard further?
No, Your Honor.
You, Mr. Zarzaki?
So, Judge, yes, he indicated he had court on Friday on the city court stuff as well. As to the, and I'll let him present additional information on that since we don't technically represent him on that part of it. But I will note, to the extent that we represent him on the new pending felony charges, he has no felony history whatsoever. He does have verified employment. He has verified residence. I know the possession of a gun is always concerning, but in this particular case, there's nothing to indicate that he couldn't legally possess a gun. And the gun was in plain view. He alerted the officers to it. It wasn't in any way used as used in any proper sense. I know under the law, possession of a weapon in a drug offense is required to actually use it, but it simply happened to be there.
And I had just got it back the day before yesterday from the police department.
Okay.
Like I literally just got it back.
And he indicated the reason he had it on him in the vehicle was he just got it back. Given all that, given that aside from the possession of the gun, there's, and again, even worst case scenario, if we go with possession of the weapon, drug offense is the only thing that might be somewhat considered. These are fully non-violent drug offenses. Given his lack of felony history and his ties to the community, we'd ask the court to consider release from trial services.
And I'm the only one that works. My wife and
Your Honor.
And he also indicated that his wife relies on him for any and all support as well.
All right, thank you. Mr. Poston?
Your Honor, I understand what the defense is saying here. However, what I'm looking at is there is an admission, apparently, excited utterance to, it would appear to be excited utterance. It doesn't say as many words in the IC that he admitted to ingesting some of the cocaine that day. I'm at a loss to know why the police didn't charge him with DUI. I understand that's neither here nor there, but we had over a gram of cocaine, but as well as electronic scales. So again, there's more to it that hasn't been charged in this case.
One second.
So that skill is broken.
He indicated that he had never used that scale that was even functional.
Like I said,
That's it.
Thank you. All right, sir. On your felony case, I will release you to pretrial services. Conditions include no drugs, no alcohol, no weapons. No weapons, sir. Monitoring treatment as directed by pretrial. Conditions include, sir, that's it. Okay. Your next court date's going to be June 24th for preliminary hearing at 1:30 p.m. at the Superior Courthouse. If you fail to appear for court, a warrant can issue for your arrest, and also that date may or may not go forward, so please keep in contact with your attorney, the public defender. Okay, now talking about your Tucson City Court case, I see that you were seen by Judge Metzger about a month ago, and then you were given that June 6th court date. You were released ROR, but for whatever reason, you weren't served with additional failure to appear warrants, which I'm seeing you on today for disorderly conduct contributing to delinquency of a minor, and these are all from 2015. So I'm not sure why you weren't served with that when you were seen a month ago, earlier in May. So on your city court cases, I will release you on your own promise to appear for your own court date. And we're going to keep the Friday, June 6th court date, okay?
So Friday, you go to city court on Friday.
Yep, so you're going to go to city court on Friday, June 6th, 9:30 a.m. downtown. Conditions of your release would be no drugs, no alcohol, no contact with any alleged victims, do not commit any acts of domestic violence. It's also ordered consolidating this case with your other ones. So you just have one court date for city court to keep track of. That's CM 2201359. Okay. And are you at the Irving Avenue? Is that your address?
yes, ma'am.
Good. All right. So make sure you show up to court for Tucson City on Friday, and also keep in contact with your attorney about the preliminary hearing for June 24th on the felony case. Okay?
Thank you.
Okay, thank you.
Good, thank you.
Appreciate you.
Morning, sir. Can I get your full name, please?
Jesse Ramon Parker.
Thank you, Mr. Parker. This is a time set for your initial appearance. I'm seeing you today on a new felony charge for possession of drug paraphernalia. There's a misdemeanor for false reporting to law enforcement. Mr. Poston, would the state be going forward on the charge with just one felony count of possession of drug paraphernalia?
Your Honor, no. State dismisses without. Your Honor, did you hear me?
Thank you. All right, so Mr. Parker, I am going to dismiss this case without prejudice, grant the state's motion.
Thank you.
You do have that misdemeanor charge. It's not attached on here at this point, so they might decide to refile, they may not. But it looks like you do have a hold from DOC, so you'll likely be taken into their custody. But the new felony charge is dismissed for today. All right, thank you, sir. My apologies, I do see the misdemeanor. Okay. All right, so sorry, I'm seeing you on a false phone to law enforcement. It's a misdemeanor out of Green Valley Justice Court. You have the right to remain silent. Anything you say can and will be used against you. You have the right to hire your own attorney. I'm going to appoint Janet Altschuler to represent you. Okay. And sir, I would have released you on your own recognizance, but because you have a DOC hold, if I release you, they're just going to take you into their custody and this will just kind of be out in limbo. And I want to make sure you get this taken care of. So I'm going to appoint you an attorney, Ms. Altschuler. I'll pose a $10 bond. Just so you get held, so you can get this taken care of. Will be cash. All right, your next court date's actually tomorrow, June 5th at 8:30 a.m. All right, so you'll see a judge by video tomorrow. Ms. Altschuler will be there. All right, if you fail to appear for court, a warrant can issue for your arrest. If you pay that, you're likely to lose that $10. You'll probably be taken to DOC custody. And if you fail to appear for court after that, warrant can issue. You understand all that, Mr. Parker?
Yes, ma'am.
Thank you, sir. Your excuse for today.
Get a chance to see. Make sure
Morning, sir. Can I get your full name, please?
Christian Allen Saunders.
Mr. Saunders, this is a time set for your initial appearance. I'm seeing you today on a new charge, a felony charge for forgery, and also seeing you on Tucson City Court failures to appear, 2 counts of theft. You have the right to remain silent. Anything you say can and will be used against you. You have the right to an attorney. Appointing the Pima County Public Defender's Office to represent you on your felony case, and you have counsel seated next to you for purpose of today. I'll be setting some release conditions for you, Mr. Saunders. I've reviewed the pretrial services report, the interim complaint. State's written recommendation is a $2,500 bond. Mr. Poston, would you like to be heard further?
No, Your Honor.
Thank you. Mr. Zarzicki?
Judge, frankly, I don't know that I have a ton of additional information to add. I will note, obviously, we would ask for a release for pretrial services. The court was willing to consider it. That may also be contingent on what the court wants to do in those other cases as well. This is a nonviolent offense. This was a counterfeit bill that he tried to use at a store, allegedly. He has 30 years of residence in Tucson. He is currently unemployed, so pretty much any bond is going to be taken off for him. I'll also note that his most recent prior is from 2016, so he actually was on a fairly decent streak of avoiding any additional criminal behavior, for whatever that's worth. But given all that, we would ask for a release of pretrial services. Beyond that, we'll refer to the court as far as what the court feels in their documents and cases.
Thank you. Mr. Saunders, I will release your pretrial services on your felony case. Conditions would include no drugs, no alcohol, no weapons, monitoring treatment as directed by pretrial, not return to the incident location wherever you were arrested from, at the Fry's on Oracle Road. Your next court date will be June 24th at 1:30 p.m. for a preliminary hearing. That date may or may not go forward, so please keep in contact with your attorney. If you fail to appear for court, whether it's that date or future date, a warrant can issue for your arrest. And for your city court cases, sir, I will also release you on your own promise to appear for your next court date. Conditions include no contact with the alleged victims of the shoplifting, don't return to those business locations. Next court date for Tucson City will be July 7th, so that's in about a month at 2:30 p.m. When you get released from jail today, sir, you'll get 2 sheets of paper, one for city court, one for your superior court or a felony matter with the next court dates. As you can see, when you fail to appear for court, warrants can issue for your arrest, so it's in your best interest to keep in contact with your attorney on the felony case. Make sure you show up to court, okay?
Thank you, Your Honor.
Excuse your tape, Mr. Saunders. Thank you. Good morning, sir. Can I get your full name, please?
Corey Judas Torres.
Thank you, Mr. Torres. This is the time set for your initial appearance. I'm seeing you today on some new felony charges for burglary in the second degree, aggravated harassment, domestic violence, and criminal damage, domestic violence, which is a misdemeanor. You have the right to remain silent. Anything you say can and will be used against you. You have the right to hire your own attorney. I'm appointing the Pima County Public Defender's Office to represent you and counsel seated next to you for purpose of today. I'll be setting some release conditions for you, sir. I've reviewed the pretrial services report, the interim complaint. The state's written recommendation is a $25,000 bond. Mr. Poston, would you like to be heard further?
No, Your Honor.
Thank you, Mr. Zarzicki.
If I can have 1 second, Your Honor. Your Honor, a couple of things on this. So first off, he does have, at the time of the incident, he did have residence at Palo Verde Hospital. He does have some mental health issues. He has a prior bipolar diagnosis. Obviously, that's something he's dealing with. This case is, I mean, any burglary involving a personal family member, any allegation like that, I'm not going to try to minimize it. It is serious, and I have no doubt that the victim in this case was very concerned by it, but there's no indication that he tried any violence on her. It could just likely be attributable to this unstable housing, his unstable housing situation, as well as his potential mental health situation. Given that he doesn't have any felonies since 2001, he does have some misdemeanor DVs, but they're all criminal damage disorder. Frankly, this all is in line with somebody that's struggling with unhoused, with homelessness and with mental health. A $25,000 bond is far beyond anything you might be able to post. If the court's not willing to release pretrial service, and obviously we would ask for that, but given the MDCA 65 in this case, if the court does decide not to release the pretrial services, we'd ask for a much lower bond, something like $5,000 or less. But given his mental health situation, given his being at Palo Verde, a release of pretrial services probably would benefit his overall recovery.
Thank you. So do you think a bond is appropriate, as Mr. Torres is currently pending a domestic violence case in Pima County Justice Court with allegedly the same victim and returned to her residence? Also, she is the named petitioner in active order protection. So I do believe a bond is appropriate. Impose a bond of $5,000. It will be cash or secured, released to pretrial if posted. So if you do post the bond or if you're released, conditions of your release would include no drugs, no alcohol, do not commit any acts of domestic violence, no weapons, monitoring treatment is directed by pretrial, no contact whatsoever with the victim, Tanya Gutierrez. There's an active order of protection, sir. All terms of that active order of protection do not return to that residence. Your next court date will be June 16th at 1:30 p.m. for a preliminary hearing. That date may or may not go forward, so please keep in contact with your attorney, the public defender. If you fail to appear for court, whether it's that June 16th date or a future date, a warrant can issue for your arrest.
All right.
You understand all that, Mr. Torres?
Yes.
All right, thank you, sir. You're excused for today. I believe that is everyone else now at the jail.
I believe that's everyone.
Okay, thank you, Mr. Tarzaki. Thank you, Mr. Poston. Thank you at the jail.
Good day.